Welcome to Legendary Impact Live, where top marketing minds and local business owners across the U.S. share their stories and strategies for attracting high-value consumers. Ready to have the spotlight on your brand? Here's your host, Meg. Let's dive in.
Well, hello, everyone. Welcome back to Legendary Impact Live. Today, I'm here with Ryan Woodland of Woodland Home Company and Woodland Home Marketplace. Thanks for joining me, Ryan.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Yeah. It's always fun to get to know, fellow local business owners and, share your story. And you have quite an interesting story. So you've got both the home company in building, remodeling, et cetera, and then you've got the Woodland Home Marketplace. So tell us kind of, how the two businesses developed and, what you're up to out there.
Sure. So the first one that started was Woodland Home Company in 2016. I retired from the fire department in Southern California, and we just moved out here and bought two patio home lots and built two homes, not really knowing much. And since then, we've kind of continued to do $2 to $3 million of construction per year, renovations, new builds, and that's been a lot of fun building that company. And about 4 years ago, we started Woodland Home Marketplace, which just purchases reclaimed building products all over North America, mostly on the East Coast. And we bring those to Colorado and we ship them nationally. But our primary market's in the mountains. Obviously, there's a lot of timber work that goes on there, but tons of fireplace mantles, flooring, shelving, ceiling beams. It's really fun because those products are no longer serving a purpose for the farmers on the East Coast, and they're paying tax dollars for those buildings that they can't use. So we're helping them when we take the buildings down and repurposing the material. So it's nice that it's not generating waste in a landfill, and we can repurpose. People really like that story. And then the wood chips, white oak in particular, are very valuable to grow mushrooms. So we take those to Hazeldale in Fort Collins, and they'll create mushrooms that are served in the local restaurants. And the compost from the mushrooms are sold at residential landscaping facilities as compost soil for trees and landscaping. So that's kind of how it comes full circle.
So cool. Yes, I love that. Getting people good compost soil is always a great effort, right?
100-year-old wood chips. Yeah. Back to the earth.
So good. So do those mushrooms taste better than other ones because there's so much nutrients in the
It's a good question. I guess that the density of white oak and how hard that wood is, it's really a preferred growth habitat for mushrooms. That's all I really know. I don't grow mushrooms for a living.
Okay.
We're just able to, instead of put them in a trash bin and take them to landfill, they can utilize them. Yeah. So I probably should, if I was a fan of mushrooms, which I'm not, I probably should go ask them if I could try them and see if they're different.
Listen,
but they were really excited about it.
Lobster mushrooms. All right. I wasn't a fan of mushrooms till I went plant-based in eating a while ago. I'm not plant-based right now. I'm trying to get back to it. But I was plant-based for 5 years. And I went to a wedding, and my best friend, the bride, she had them make a special dish for me, which was lobster mushrooms. And it does sound pretty good. It tasted like lobster.
So anyway, it's literally like lobster stuffed inside of the mushroom?
No, it's just a mushroom that they call a lobster mushroom because when prepared well, it tastes like you're eating lobster. So really, really good. And you can buy them locally, but they're dehydrated. I went on a hunt for these mushrooms, where I could procure them to make them at home here. Yes, and they were so good. So I'm wondering what kind of mushrooms. It's Hazeldale. I'll check them out. Maybe they'll come on the podcast and tell me all about it. But you got if you're not a mushroom fan. If you're not a mushroom fan and you're out there and you're listening to this or watching it, try lobster mushrooms because it will change you. They are so good. But that's the interesting thing about mushrooms. There's so many varieties. They're the ones that are meh, they taste like mushrooms. But then there's other varieties that don't really taste like mushrooms at all. So anyway,
never heard of lobster mushroom. So that's already got my first takeaway from the podcast.
Yes. So yeah, and part of the plant-based movement is environmental, right? Like we're trying to reduce waste and the animal production industry, all of that, but the the sustainability of finding replacements for meat products is a thing. So that was exciting for me when I learned about them. So how else are you? So you're preventing things from going to the landfill. You're bringing them to the marketplace, or partnering with, for instance, the Hazeldale. Is it a farm? Hazeldale Farm?
Yeah, they're, from what I can gather from their operation, they primarily grow mushrooms. So in our location here in Colorado, as you might be familiar with, our mountains are filled with softwoods like spruce and pine. And we don't have those hardwoods locally, which is ironically why our customers really prefer white oak and hardwoods. And they're mostly on the East Coast. Kind of human nature. Gotcha. We want what we can't have. They love beetle kill pine on the East Coast, and we have that in abundance.
How funny, here. Right?
Yeah, very interesting.
You guys are just trading. You got a good trade system going where you're securing once the products
come here, they're very valuable because, believe it or not, Colorado's not a net producing state, so trucker routes here aren't very attractive. It's expensive to get product here from Pennsylvania, New York, Ohio, these other places. So once we bring the product here, it's very valuable. And I think we have the largest inventory on hand in the state, at least for sure in northern Colorado, of reclaimed products, which is helpful. But it is costly to get the products here. So.
Yeah. And so, there has to be some coverage of that cost, right? And in reselling the products to a lot of these custom home builders or purchasers, you're finding that niche. And it is, I have a couple barn doors behind me. I painted like a little mural on them. But anyway, I think those are, obviously very attractive. Everybody loves a good set of barn doors.
Yeah. Our clientele is our ideal clientele is very niche. Typically our price point is, a $2 million residence and up. Because the beam package and such, they're expensive. You're dealing with a large waste factor. The beams that are selected for those type of projects are premium beams. There's a large waste factor on the products because the age of the material. It's pretty selective, and it's difficult to mill to meet size specifications. It can be very challenging. So there's been a lot of change in the market with thermally modified products and naturally aging products to compete with that market that aren't the real, reclaimed products, but they're more competitive in pricing. So they're definitely a luxury item. There's a market for it, and there's plenty of homes that are at that value. It's just finding your introduction to that market is what's difficult, because there's some pretty established competitors nationally that have a very strong brand. So to be a smaller company with only 4 years, getting competition with those larger 30 plus employee companies that have millions of dollars of inventory on the ground and have been in business for 30 years, it's just a little bit difficult to get front of mind to customers.
And your customers are really the builders more so than the purchaser. Home owner.
We end with the builder, and that's my value. But I think our priority top 3 customers would be interior designers, architects, and builders. And most often our highest end clientele, which mostly end up in non-disclosure agreements. So the fanciest and best homes we don't ever get to market. We meet with an interior design team. We never meet the homeowners physically in person. It's just how that goes. So the interior designers are the budget spenders. They're the people we communicate. They call out what goes where and how much of it. And the architect will call out the exterior cladding materials. So those are our 2 most desired communications. And the builder is mostly prioritized with framing, structural members, functionality of HVAC systems, not having warranty calls, making sure the roof doesn't leak, the structure functions well. That's more his responsibility as to what looks pretty and fancy ceiling beams are difficult to install. They're not very much fun as a builder. I know that. So we try to make it nice for the builder, and having the building background by making things easier and supplying cleating and communicating effectively with them. That's an advantage that we have. But those are by far our top 3 best customers to reach out and communicate with.
And I see you have some beams behind you.
Yeah.
So are those any of the East Coast hardwoods that?
Yeah, the big one
offering?
Up top above the ceiling fan, that's a white oak beam that came from Lanesboro, Pennsylvania. And then the rafter tail beams are also white oak. And they're from New York, those ones there. And we installed the white oak beam with framing, and then the smaller ones after framing was completed. So, yeah.
Okay. And in the marketplace, are you offering anything other than the beams and the barnwood doors?
Yeah, we're very fortunate to have a really incredibly skilled craftsman in our wood shop, so we can build anything. He's done work for Tiger Woods and a lot of other people. He's provided products for Deer Valley, Vail Aspen, so we can build anything. But our primary offerings are exterior cladding, interior accent walls, floating stair treads and shelving, any custom built-in lockers, things like that, flooring, fireplace mantles. If it's made of reclaimed wood, barn doors, anything tongue and groove shiplap material, we can produce that in, either create it in-house or broker it with wholesale accounts and get it delivered to the job.
Excellent. Yeah, that's a lot of interesting products for design purposes.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah.
It's hard really because it's not a necessary product. So we're not like a plumber that you want hot water to take a shower. So you want that. We're not required, our products. So we feel when the economy is really good, it's really fun to be in our industry. But when things are really tight, people typically flinch at our estimates because they're not necessary for construction, but they are really fun projects to be a part of because they do make a beautiful and fun impact and have a neat story to them. Like we have some stuff that's came from historic buildings, like the Rick House distillery. I just got back from there about 2 months ago, and some of that stuff hasn't seen daylight for 150 years, and it's a historic bourbon distillery. Just some neat products like that are one of a kind,
that'd be really cool to have that in your house,
Right. Yeah.
And be able to tell where it came from. Do you do those like live edge, counters and stuff, tables, all of that?
Yeah, if it's like big walnut slabs or something like that, we have friendly competitors up north here. I would recommend Baldwin hardwoods. They're great with the large live edge, but we do tons of live edge shelves, like probably 5,000 or 6,000 linear feet a year.
Okay.
Which is a lot for us.
Sounds like a lot. I have no frame of reference, but it sounds like
I'm sure there's others doing more, but out of our little shop, it's only 5 of us in total. So we're not a large company. We hope to, meet 1 million in gross sales this year. It's our 4th year in business, and we've had year-over-year growth. But it's, as you're probably aware of, the last couple of years, things were a little bit tight for people with spending and groceries and gas and fuel. So the budgets weren't really there as much as we would like them to have been.
As the one that buys the groceries and 2 growing children who are never not hungry, I totally get it.
Yeah.
So awesome. Well, tell me about the home build projects that you're working on. We mentioned to one another before we started the interview about a home site in Greeley. So tell me a little bit about, any of the build projects that you're working on.
Yeah, so we hope to create some synergy with the two. We're purchasing 56 luxury patio home lots, and that will keep us busy for the next 7 to 8 years. We have the capital to build 4 homes to start, and we look to improve that by 1 home per year. We have 3 interior floor plans, and those 3 interior floor plans will offer 3 exterior renderings per interior floor plan. So a homeowner could pick 1 floor plan and then could pick 1 of 3 exterior renderings. And we'd like to implement some of our reclaimed products in that floor plan. We use a product called Builder Trend that has selections, so you could pick good, better, best products for upgrades. And yeah, we just are going to hit the ground running. We have a superintendent and office manager and myself, and that will be really fun because we have control of the construction, and we think we can put a really good product to the market up here in Greeley. And that's going to be our primary focus, as well as additional remodels and any other client interest that we get throughout there. But that should put us at starting at about $2.5 million of construction per year, up to eventually 4.5 to 5, which is it's plenty for 3 individuals in a company.
Sounds like it. Especially while also running the marketplace. Yeah.
Right. 3.5 is about where I start to pull my hair out personally. Maybe other people can do more, but $3.5 million of construction is where I start to have a difficult time.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I can see that. So tell us a little bit about, I know you're involved in some B2B and business development and networking and that sort of thing. Tell me a little bit about what you're up to, because there might be some business owners listening that would like to tap into, some of the resources you guys are providing.
Yeah. So I'm in a business group in Fort Collins called Loco Think Tank. The chapter that I'm in is the Original Thinkers. It's one of the first chapters there. And the criteria generally is 5 employees, $1 million in gross sales is generally what the qualifying individual would have to be near. And we're actually looking for a couple members in that group that are growth minded, wanting to be aggressive with improving their gross revenue and profit. We meet once a month, and it's really great because you put your P&L out there, describe your growth goals. We do issue processing. It's really just about being there for one another and figuring out what's your pain point currently. How do we navigate that? How do we solve that? Provide solutions and support. What's your revenue at currently? How do we increase the revenue if that's your goal? What's your profit margin? How do we improve that if that's your goal? What is your goal? Do you have goals? We need goals, just kind of making sure our trajectory is in a correct path and we're not just kind of showing up to catch the 10 balls every day. I think business to grow and scale needs to be structured and have discipline and systems. And that's what our group size is generally oriented towards. There's groups that are above and below that have different priorities, but there's lots of networking events with that group. There's plenty of different business owners. It really gets you in touch with the community. We have happy hours and kind of quarterly events where we all come together and hear different speakers. And that's where I've met my life and business coach. We've had some integration with our mass media or mass marketing email campaigns and others. Like you meet some, there's plenty of different people and services that you otherwise wouldn't maybe meet that I've found really valuable outside of just the general business development that I found very valuable, and the people that you meet and the relationships that you grow there. So I think it's a great thing to be a part of, just in general.
Sounds like a lot. Yeah. Once you're having some success and you're ready for that scaling, it seems like that's a great space to network in and get to know people. That's cool. They have a business tiers and life coach too.
Yeah. Well, because I think in business, if you're not any good at home, you're not going to be any good in business. So the goal should be to be a good husband, a good father, a good business owner, treat your employees well and your family well, and do the best you can. Yeah. That's all we're trying to do, is be good people. Yeah. And if you're not any good at work, you're probably not going to be good at home. So our check-ins are like that at the business group. What are your business wins in the last 30 days? How's your personal life? We want to know how people are doing.
Oh, awesome. I've never heard that woven together in a business networking type of environment. How cool.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you've seen individuals, obviously we're not here to name names, but that are not doing well at home, and you could just see it on them. It's heavy. It's wearing on them. And we've all kind of maybe been there where things are tough. And hopefully in a marriage, it's doubling your happiness and dividing your pain. But if you're in a marriage or a relationship where it's doubling your pain, and dividing the happiness, that's just zaps your energy, and it's hard because business is hard by nature. So you gotta be good at home. So that's part of the equation. It's good to acknowledge that.
So cool. It is 100%. Like it's a holistic approach to success and, you know, scaling your life and building all the things that can make you happy, but also help you help others through the work that you do. So that's pretty cool. Neat. And you said there's different levels. So you're at this certain level, but there's groups that are below and above.
Yeah. And I think that's the philanthropy side of me really thinks about the group that's the entry level group, but right below us, because I think that's the hardest part when you don't know which way is up and you're trying as hard as you can, but you're not aware of the systems and structures. And you just, there's a book called E-Myth where you're a technician and you're really good at painting, or you're really good at building this product or making the cake or whatever it is. And you start a business and you're like, wait, there's so many other things to this and no one told me about this. And I have to pay these employees and this costs money and that costs money. I didn't know about all this. And then you're not having any fun. And the thing that you love doing, you now hate doing it, and it ruins your passion for that project. So I feel like that's the group that I really look forward to hopefully benefiting one day, because if you're aware of what's coming and you can structure in advance of that, then I think that it makes the whole process more enjoyable, because once you have a sustainable structure and you have a reliable product or service that you can sell, now you're just making small tweaks to gain leverage and more profitability and just building a picture of, saleability and creating a way towards an exit and a sale, if that's your goal. But in the beginning, it can be really intimidating and really frustrating. And there's way more questions than there are answers. And I think a lot of people get disheartened and quit, and it makes less people want to engage in what we all believe is the American dream and trying and starting something. And especially the younger generation, I often hear that they're afraid of failure, and that is not going to help them, not having any guidance or anywhere. There's just not a lot of answers at that point in business. So I look forward to hopefully giving back and helping to that group if I'm not qualified now, then maybe in the future when I am.
That's a great goal. Love it. Well, how should people get in touch with you? We've talked about a lot. So, maybe they're looking to purchase a custom home in Greeley. Maybe they're looking for, design products for projects they're working on, or some, business networking. How should people get in touch with you if they want to know more?
They can get me directly at woodlandhomecompany.com. That contact page is going to go right to my inbox directly for now until about Q3 of this year. Woodlandhomemarketplace.com has a Calendly invite if you want to come to our showroom up north in Eden. It has our sales number there if you're interested in shopping a product, pricing a product. Our locations there, some of our inventory is there. Also our social media, Instagram and Facebook accounts are Woodland Home Marketplace, Woodland Home Company. We're also on LinkedIn. So any of those platforms, they're actively managed, and there's people that will be responsive to those for any questions or anything. But if you'd like to reach me directly for anything, it'd be through the Woodland Home Company website. My phone number is listed there, and the contact us form will go right to me.
Perfect. All right. Well, anything else you want to share? Any, seasonal information for either business or the networking? Anything coming up event-wise?
On our one thing that's pretty neat up here, that's really exciting, with Run Windsor, on our farm in Severance here at the property that I'm at now, we're doing a event called Weld Your Metal with Mandy Mullen at Run Windsor. And it is a 3-day festival. It has 6, 9, 12, 24, and 48-hour relays or individual events. There's cold plunges, saunas, live bands, food. I'm trying to build a team of 6 or 7 of us to do the 24-hour relay. That's what I've been training for. But that is May 23rd. So you can go to Run Windsor, Weld Your Metal. I don't know the exact website or link, but that's something that's really exciting. It's super fun. It's a bunch of neat people come out and run like 100 miles in the weekend. It's really, really fun to see people they're doing things that are really difficult. And it's so neat to see people push themselves. And it's a great community of runners and people doing really neat things. So if you're interested in challenging yourself for a personal record or just doing something fun to move your body and try to meet a new goal, that's a great opportunity in May. And you can camp out on our farm here. It's 146 acres. And yeah, you're more than welcome to come. All the information's on the website there. And we'd love to have you out here.
Awesome. Well, that does sound exciting. Thanks for sharing. And thanks for being on here today. I learned so many interesting things, and I got to share about lobster mushrooms.
Yeah. And I learned about lobster mushrooms.
That's your homework. So awesome. Well, thanks for coming. If you come in contact with anyone, listeners or Ryan, that are interested in being on the podcast, please connect us. locallegend.media/podcast, request an interview there. And I'm excited to share your story. Thank you so much, Ryan, for spending some time with me today.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. It was great.
Yay.
Thanks for listening to Legendary Impact. If you're a marketing expert, brand power player, or local business owner ready to share your expertise, visit Local Legend Media's website and click the More tab at the top and then Podcast to get featured. Let's put your brand in the spotlight. See you next episode.